Chapter 318 of My Hero Academia is just a cold hard look into how robotic Deku has become at this point, trudging through the streets all alone, defeating every villain he possibly comes across. His body is not going to hold out very much longer. Welcome everyone, it is Dylan from Class 1A bringing you another My Hero Academia chapter breakdown. This week we have chapter 318, Reckless. We open the chapter with Endeavor on the phone with Deku. He essentially tells him he needs to chill out at this point and that he's just pushing too hard. Overseas heroes are coming to help. And Deku tells him no, we can't give the villains time to prepare. Deku at this point is totally solo after running away from All Might and just refusing Endeavor at this point. He's just on his own. I think he's starting to lose sight of just how important teamwork is going to be in the upcoming battles. The news of overseas heroes does get me really excited. As a Vigilantes fan, I really want to see Captain Celebrity. He essentially is like an All Might light, and he's in America at this point in time, so it totally makes sense that he would make an appearance here. Now that we know the movies are actually canon, from Deku having the new gauntlet, we might even get Melissa Shields in here. I could totally see her showing up to support the team and, all the heroes coming from, across the sea. So that actually might happen. I think it would be kind of cool and another good way to solidify that the movies actually are canon. Then we get insight into what's going on with the vestiges. Most are agreeing that Deku is pushing too hard here, but the second user says no, this is the right path for him. But maybe there is something they can still do to protect him. Now, I think this is really interesting because what are the vestiges supposed to do at this point? I mean, they're more or less in Deku's head and in the quirk itself. So how can they really affect the outside world? So I think it's either going to be something maybe a little bit silly, like, they activate, one of his quirks on their own to call for help or something like that. Or it is going to be a secret within the quirk that we currently don't know about. Then we jump back to Deku, who is fighting and easily defeating a horde of villains. When civilians see him though, they're terrified, saying that with his multiple quirks, he must be one of All for One's subordinates. Now, I think this is really interesting because, Deku's whole philosophy around being a hero is about showing up and saving people with a smile to let them know that it's okay. And this is the furthest he could possibly be from that dream at this point. He's saving people, yes, but people are terrified of him. People are just terrified in general. We see more into Deku's thoughts. He's solely focused on this point at stopping All for One, Shigaraki, and the League of Villains. Because he wants to protect his family, his friends, his mentors, and the world. No one should live in fear anymore. He just wants to smile with them. Now, this makes so much sense for Deku here. I mean, people have been saying a little bit that, he's going villain or he's going rogue or whatnot. But that's not Deku, and he would never stray off the path like that. I think it totally makes sense for his character that he wants to protect people so much and he has this great power that he's going to push people away until things are safe. But I don't think that's going to last. And then we get introduced to the terrifying villain Dictator, another All for One assassin. He's basically Shinzo's quirk but cranked up to 11. He's able to control the minds of multiple people at once. And with all these civilians here, there's nothing Deku can do at this point without hurting them. So they slowly engulf him, where he stands there helpless. Until we get an AP shot from Bakugo, which domes Dictator right in the head with a direct shot, saving Deku. The chapter ends with a shot of the second user repeating the phrase, "If there's something we can do to protect him," and Bakugo saying, "I found him, guys." Okay, wow, this is just a lot to digest at once. There's a million things going on in this one page, and we can go off into each one of them for an hour. But I'm gonna break it up, and we're gonna dive into each one of them so we can unpack what's actually going on here. Okay, so I think it's totally poetic that in the ruins of Kamino, where Bakugo was saved by Deku and his friends, that it would be the reverse here, where Deku would actually get saved by Bakugo. Horikoshi is so good at this. All of his story beats rhyme with each other, and we see the same pattern showing up all the time. He's incredible at this, so I think it's amazing to see. Okay, next we have the second user, who's repeating that same phrase, if there's something we can do to protect Deku at this moment. And I think that's really important here, because, I'd be remiss to say if, we saw that, and then we saw Bakugo's face right next to each other, and they look so similar. I mean, many people are saying that's oh yeah, that's could be, one of his ancestors, or, a relative of his. We haven't gotten any indication of that. The only thing is they kind of look, similar. And in the scene, they're there together at this moment. So it implies that maybe something he did, contacted Bakugo to actually help bring him here to save Deku. So what could it really be? Is there a connection between the two or anything like that? Is this person maybe his grandfather or something like that? Or is it time traveling Bakugo? Okay, maybe it's not time traveling Bakugo. Probably isn't. Like, I would say 99.9%, but maybe it is. Okay, so it could totally just be coincidence here, but I think there is something going on, and we will definitely find out next chapter what this whole connection is and what it actually means and what the vestiges actually did here. So with Bakugo calling out, hey guys, he's here, that, implies that 2A is there with them. Not the whole class necessarily, but probably a subsect of it. Bakugo, Uraraka, Ida, maybe Kirishima, a small group of people are probably there to help save Deku. And I think this is the point where Deku just starts taking help finally. He's been pushing people away for so long, and I think this is the moment he's going to realize if he's going to defeat the League of Villains and Shigaraki and All For One, he needs the help of his friends. And this is where things start turning around. Horikoshi has been knocking it out of the park recently with these chapters. I mean, all the way back until the start of the war arc, we've just been getting good chapter after good chapter. And I don't think it's going to stop here. We're going to take a little bit of a break. I think he has a week break before the next chapter actually starts. But during that time, I think we're going to get a connection to, what's going on with the vestiges and how they're affecting the real world. We're probably going to start diving into what's going on with Class 2A at this point, who's actually there with Deku helping him out, and probably their adventures after that. I can assume that they're going to be working together, they're going to be fighting villains together, and it is just going to be a really awesome romp of them fighting new people. And we're going to see Class 2A, and they're going to be strong, and it's going to be so great to see their quirks in action again. We also really never had time to digest what was going on in the war itself. We kind of just left the class right afterwards. We never saw the lasting impact to all the characters like Momo, seeing her idol die in front of her. All these people seeing heroes that they held so highly just die around them and even get beat to the pulp themselves. We never got a chance to sit with these characters on that, and I think this is where it's going to happen. Regardless of what's next, I know Horikoshi has a lot of awesome stuff in store for us, and it's going to be amazing chapters continuing on from here. I don't really see a stop to this anytime soon. We're just going to keep getting good My Hero Academia chapters, and it's so awesome to see. But I'm curious, who from the class do you hope shows up in this next chapter? I really want Uraraka. It's been way too long since we've seen a meaningful interaction between her and Deku, actually in person, not just through letters, so I really hope she shows up. Class 1A is the place to be if you're a fan of My Hero Academia. We go over the anime, the manga, Vigilantes, and so much more. So make sure that you're subscribed, and I will see you all next class.